Welcome back to Glow with Chloe. I am Clonika, or you can call me Chloe or Nika, whichever you prefer. Today we are going to be doing things a little bit different. Instead of doing makeup, we're actually going to sit down and talk about something that is actually very serious to me, that affects a lot of women, and I wanted to share my story and get it out there in hopes that it can help someone. And this is also going to transition into another part of my channel where we are going to be dealing with health and lifestyle. And so stay tuned and keep on watching to get into the juiciness of what I've been dealing with. All right, so today we are going to be talking about polycystic ovary syndrome, also known as PCOS. So I myself have been battling, surviving, struggling, whatever you want to call it, with PCOS since I was 13. So for me, I did not start getting my cycle until I was 13. And when I did start getting my cycle, it was very painful, and I would get it once every 3 months. And back then, didn't think much of it. I was very active. I was doing track, soccer, weightlifting, dance. So I was very active. So at that point in spirit, I thought that it was normal for me not to consecutively have my cycle every month. Was my first time having it, so wasn't thinking much of it. And that continued for a year. So going into 15, my cycle continued to be very sporadic, but this time when I would get it, I would have it for 6-7 weeks at a time, sometimes even longer. And then I would probably get it once every 3 to 4 months, if that. And with that, once again, me not knowing much about my cycle or how to track my cycle, however, I still checked it up till I was still very active, still in sports, still weightlifting, stuff like that. And at this time, I was not living with my mom. I was living with my dad in Canada at the time. And I remember my mom telling my dad to get me checked when I went back to Canada. And it was something that got swept under the rug again. And then when I was 17, I finally got checked out by a doctor, just try to figure out what was going on with me, because at this point I was having a cycle going on 9 weeks with no signs of it going away. And so went to a doctor, did some tests. They did an ultrasound, an internal ultrasound, and at that time I was not officially diagnosed with what was wrong with me. I just got told that, oh, your ovaries look like they have pearl necklaces on it. Here, take these birth control pills, at the time Yaz, and that should help regulate your period. But at that time, my doctor never went into the specifics of why my ovaries look like I have a pearl necklace on it, or why I was having my cycle for a month and a half, or what exactly birth control would do for me. So I was like, okay, whatever, I guess part of being a teenager. So I started Yaz. I was on the pill for quite a while. During the time, I actually started having acne, and that's when I started having facial hair growth. Back then it was only 1 to 2 hairs, nothing much. Tweeze it, move on with my day. I didn't think much of it. But then I also started dealing with hints of depression, and just not feel. And then to add to that, the birth control pills wasn't actually really helping me with my cycle, because I was still having irregular bleeding. Along with that time as well, I also had made mention to my dad's girlfriend about a mass I had growing in my right breast. So still don't know at this point that I have polycystic ovary syndrome. I'm just having irregular bleeding, and now I have this lump in, well, the lump was there since I was 13, let's be honest. It was there for a while, but that too got brushed under the rug. So 17, I'm dealing with very irregular periods lasting way longer than they should. I was anemic, depressed, birth control, and then having a lump in my breast. Good thing about being in Canada at the time while all of this is going on is free healthcare. Yay! So within weeks of me declaring about this mass I had in my breast, it was removed. Thank goodness it was benign, and that was taken care of. But then the trauma of going through the surgery sent my body more out of whack, I think. And so I got off of the birth control pills, and because it wasn't really helping me, and I started, recovering from my surgery. And then I don't know if it was the stress from the surgery, but my hair started to fall out, so it started thinning, falling out. So I ended up cutting my hair when I was 17. I didn't tell anyone at the time why I cut my hair. I just did it because I felt like, what's the point of having long hair if it's not healthy? I couldn't raise my hand to comb my hair anyway, so it's like, just cut it off. And so that's it. For those of you who do know me, who've known me for a long time, that's the real reason why I cut my hair. So still continued with my symptoms. I still wasn't diagnosed. From 13 to 17, still was not officially diagnosed with what was wrong with me. So 18, coming into 18, mid 18, I was going on vacation with my mom, and so I flew into New York from Canada, and I had already had my cycle for about 2 weeks before I got into New York. And so I got into New York, and it was there. I spent a week in New York before going off to Guyana with my mom. The whole week in New York, it was still there. And then a week into my vacation in Guyana, I still had my cycle. And so my mom was like, this is enough. Like, this is not normal. You should not be bleeding like this. And so she took me to a doctor in Guyana. Within minutes of me explaining to the doctor everything that I was going through, he said, you have polycystic ovary syndrome. And I was like, okay, what is that? And so essentially he broke it down as he just said that I don't function like a normal woman, and I'm pretty much on the lines of being infertile. It won't be impossible for me to have kids, but it's going to be very difficult for me to have kids on my own. Told me that there's no cure for it, and they don't know what caused it. So that was like, at least I now know what I have. Now, coming back to what is polycystic ovary syndrome, everything that I know today about it, it's through research, through me looking into it for myself, because I've never had a doctor truly explain to me what it is, what it does, and how it affects me. So essentially, polycystic ovary syndrome is a hormonal imbalance. There's different types of polycystic ovary syndrome, and it will affect each woman who has it differently. And 1 in 10 women have polycystic ovary syndrome. So it is a hormonal imbalance. It's where your male hormones tend to be higher than your female hormones, your estrogen, your progesterone, and stuff like that. And it can also be triggered by insulin resistance. So for me, the way that polycystic ovary syndrome affects me, myself personally, is I have irregular periods, potentially have insulin resistance, which makes it very hard for me to lose weight. I crave sugars a lot. I deal with fatigue. I also have high testosterone levels, and I have male facial hair growth, so hirsutism. And so those are the major things that affect me. I also have dealt with depression here and there. And then I have also been on the verge of being suicidal because of polycystic ovary syndrome. If I knew then what I know now about my condition, certain things that I did, I probably wouldn't have done, like getting on birth control. I was lucky to be blessed with my daughter. We were lucky we were able to get her naturally. But after having her, I got on birth control because we were not ready to have another baby right away. You know, we didn't know how my body was going to act. So with doing that, I got on the arm implant. My doctor that I had at the time did not look into how this specific birth control would react with my body and me already having a hormonal imbalance. So with getting on that birth control and having PCOS, I actually was having menopause symptoms. So from the moment I put in that birth control until 2 years later when I took it out, I had night sweats every night. I had hot flashes every day. I became super depressed, and it was at that time, my first time where I thought about suicide was on that birth control. And I didn't have a period, not one time, while I was on there. And so I decided to take it out, and then we decided to go with NuvaRing. NuvaRing was great. It was fun. It was convenient. However, with NuvaRing, my depression was really bad, and I thought about driving my car off the highway. And still, you know, for me, I still wasn't looking into how, or nor my doctors were looking into how birth control would affect me. And unfortunately, most doctors, when you go to them and you discover you have PCOS, there's like, oh, lose weight and take these birth control pills or take metformin. And sometimes those solutions, they don't work for everyone. And sometimes you could be trying your hardest to lose weight. And I remember there's times where I have done everything right to lose weight and my body sabotaged me and I end up gaining weight. And so losing weight isn't always the solution for polycystic ovary syndrome. So after NuvaRing, I actually decided to, after my last episode of almost, you know, driving myself off the road, I decided I'm not going to do birth control anymore, and I'm going to try to treat my body naturally. And so I've looked into diets that could help me, workouts that can help me, and just trying to find natural ways to heal myself, because there are natural ways that you can deal with it. So for myself, I tend to try to lean towards a more low GI foods, so low glycemic index foods, to help with myself. And I'm also looking into workouts that's going to help balance my hormones. Now, I have not been consistent with these things, but my reason for sharing my story is that a portion of my channel is going to be focusing on health and wellness and dealing with PCOS, and it's also to help keep me accountable to do better for myself, and for you to follow along with me as I spend this time healing myself and passing on my knowledge, and also educating anyone who wants information on how to deal with this. Because, you know, when I was 18, like I said, I didn't know squat about polycystic ovary syndrome. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know who else had polycystic ovary syndrome. I didn't know that it affected 1 in 10 women. I didn't know anything about it, and so you know, the internet helped me. And if what I know can help someone, and that they don't have to go through all the digging and searching that I went through trying to get to where I am today, that would be my goal. I know there's many young girls who unfortunately get this diagnosis and get that, here, take this birth control pills and try to lose weight story. I can't believe that in you know 2021 that doctors are still telling girls, here, take birth control pills, it's going to help you. It's not. It's going to mask what you're going through, but it's not truly going to help you. Once you get off of birth control, you're either going to go back to the same symptoms you have, or it's going to be even worse. So my goal is to help young girls try to heal their body, deal with their body in a natural way, and help them live a better life with as minimal side effects as possible. So like I said, the reason for sharing my story and what I've been dealing with is because I want to help the next girl who may get the diagnosis and don't know where to turn, or even the women who are dealing with this situation, who are now finding out after, you know, years of feeling like you're going crazy. I want to help you get to a better space and get to a better mindset and get to just loving yourself again, because I know that polycystic ovary syndrome can have you feeling less than a woman, and you're all woman. I just want you to know that. And I just want you to come here and feel comfortable with sharing your story, and just following along and seeing the things that I do, and hopefully that it can help you as it is helping me. So yeah, that is it for today. Like I said, I didn't want to share and make a video because this is something that has been weighing on my chest for a very long time. Initially, when I started the channel, when I first created this channel before uploading a video, it was to talk about PCOS, but I was hesitant, and I was scared, and I don't know, scared of being judged, or just didn't know how the information would be received. But I keep being told at night by God, is like, you need to share. And of course I have my supportive hubby, but I kept hearing this voice every night telling me that you need to share your story. You need to talk about what you're going through. You need to share your story, because your story is your testimony, and you need to talk about it. And, you know, or the voice would say, I did not create you to be silent. I need you to talk about what it is that you're going through. And so here we are in 2021. 2020 was a shitty year. As they're saying, 2020 was ghetto. Okay, 2020 was ghetto. And I didn't want to bring this heavy news onto my channel. So it's like, let me start with something fun and hopefully can uplift spirits. But we're in 2021, and I want to uplift spirits in a different way. I want to truly help someone with something that they can take away from my channel that's going to definitely uplift them in mind, body, and spirit. I want when you come here that you're truly gaining something from me, not just, you know, a pretty eyeshadow look. Those are still going to be here. We're still going to do makeup. We're still going to have fun. But I also still want to just share some good stuff with you that I think will help you. And yeah, so that's it. We're gonna do some cooking, we're gonna do some working out, we're gonna do some skincare, we're gonna do some chit chats. You know, we're just gonna have a good time, but we're gonna be learning how to manage and deal with polycystic ovary syndrome as well. So we're gonna have fun going on from here, but do you expect more than just makeup from me for the rest of 2021? Because we're really gonna dig deep into this thing called life, and I hope that you do stick around and you join me, and I'm able to help you through whatever it is that you're going through. So thank you once again for coming back here to Glow with Chloe. Yeah, we're going to be doing more than glowing from highlighter. We're going to be working on glowing from inside out. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and come back and join me every week so that way we can learn about something new in terms of beauty, lifestyle, health, and just managing our life and becoming the best as possible. Thank you once again for joining me today, and you take care.